Welcome to Pleasure in the Pause, a podcast dedicated to inspiring midlife women to feel more connected to their bodies, pleasure, and power through perimenopause, menopause, and beyond. I am your host, Gabriella Espinosa, and today we are exploring the pleasure of being in community. And to guide us in how to create and find your community is Ana Flores, a trailblazer in Latina entrepreneurship and community building. Ana is the founder and co CEO of We All Grow Latina, a 100% Latina owned social media, events, e commerce, and membership platform that has been igniting the voices and dreams of Latinas since 2010. Ana's leadership skills have catapulted We All Grow Latina into a multi-million-dollar community-driven ecosystem, fueling Latinas in the intersection of entrepreneurship and well-being. Her grassroots efforts at representation, community building, conscious entrepreneurship, and gender inequality led her to be recognized by the United Nations as a champion of change and by People magazine as one of las mujeres más poderosas, the most powerful women. Welcome, Ana.
Hi, thank you so much, Gabriella. I'm so happy to finally be here in this space with you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I had privilege of being part of your community, and you were one of the first persons I thought about inviting onto my podcast because I had so much pleasure being a part of We All Grow Latina. And in preparation for this podcast, I thought since the beginning of time, women have always gathered to share their stories, to collaborate, to celebrate together, to make food together. We help raise our families and celebrate and heal together. It was really essential for our survival and for the good of our culture. And I think finding this sense of community, especially for me now in midlife, is now more important than ever as we navigate so many changes. We don't have that extended village to help us navigate things like midlife or menopause. Tell us, I'd love for you to share your story of how and why you began your journey of creating community with We All Grow Latina.
I think I know that I created what I needed at the time.
Mm.
And that community continues to evolve. And I don't want this to sound selfish because it's not. It's just the connection, the energetic connection of what I created and how it continues to evolve, continues to also serve me. Right? And I think that when we're able to create things that have that symbiotic relationship with our own needs and are able to listen deeply to those people that you serve, it really creates a something that goes beyond you. It's a legacy. But this is not something that I knew or understood 13 years ago when the seed of what is now We All Grow was planted. We All Grow started as Latina Bloggers Connect back in 2010. I was a blogger. I was a mom blogger at the time. I had my daughter, who is now 16, almost 17, was a baby at the time. She was 2, 3 years old when I launched this blog called Spanglish Baby. It was the very early days of blogging where mom bloggers were really the ones dominating the scene and the ones that understanding how to work with brands and how to create these beautiful spaces that, again, we selfishly needed for ourselves because we weren't finding the information uh, for really how to raise our children, right? And
Mm.
the society that doesn't really value the concept of the village anymore as much as we need it. And for me, the village that I needed was other parents that were raising bilingual and bicultural children. And that was very important for me. I was born in Houston and I grew up with Padres del Salvador and I grew up learning both languages at the same time. I don't remember learning either one. And then when I was 6, my mom moved back to El Salvador, and that's where my bicultural and bilingual upbringing. And I wanted to do the same for my daughter. I wanted to be seamless, but I realized that was really difficult in a country where even learning a second language has racist implications of why it's not allowed and it's not promoted. So anyway, that led to the blog Spanglish Baby. That was my first community. It was a community of parents that were looking to raise her bilingually and biculturally. We were really elevating what the Latino culture is so that we could bring those celebrations into the home. That was the first community, and that one I built with a friend called Roxana Soto. And that led to Latina Bloggers Connect because to be able to continue that community and that blog, we needed to monetize. To monetize, we needed to work with brands, but no one understood that world back then, which is now known as influencer marketing. So that started as a community of bloggers where I made the promise that I was going to figure out how to monetize our blogs and I was going to teach to them. And I ended with a blog post with a line that said, because when one grows, we all grow. And
Mm.
that was the beginning of that. It just exploded into this influencer marketing world where it's something that I had built alone on my kitchen table from a need that I had and a need that my fellow Latina bloggers also had. It just really exploded into a company, which by the first year, I had already hired my first 2 employees. I had a massive competition. We had incredible brand campaigns, and it just really kept flourishing. But from there to where we are now, what happened in between was that I've always been a deep listener. So really, I think one of our core pillars in building community is listening, but I call it deep listening because by deep listening, you're always going to serve your community and understand what it is that they need. And as influencer marketing matured, and I also was tuning in to listen to myself and being, who I, as the founder and CEO of the company, what is it that I want to wake up to and show up to every day? What brings me pleasure in the work that I do? And what influencer marketing had become wasn't bringing me pleasure at all. We were successful at it. We hit our first $1 million in revenue within 4 years of opening the company with $0. And against all odds of even the belief of like, why should Latina bloggers exist? Why should they monetize? It wasn't really something where it was something that we had to like strongly advocate for. And less than 1% of Latina owned businesses ever hit the $1 million mark. So I
Mm.
see that in celebration of us and in celebration of building something that really mattered and that we're continuously having to advocate for the importance of this community and of coming together as women in community and the power that yield. So that became the first conference, We All Grow Summit, which was in 2015. And by then, a year later, we decided to rebrand as We All Grow because we understood that we were no longer just serving a Latina blogger community, but that space had matured so much that it wasn't as, it became so transactional that it wasn't what we wanted to continue serving, that we needed to open up the doors to all these incredible Latinas that were creating businesses by utilizing the same tools that the bloggers had been using originally, right? So all these digital tools, and then by then it was e-commerce had really blown up in the space, allowing so many Latina businesses to market directly to consumers and do what we do the best, which is create communities. So for many of them was creating community around brands, et cetera. So we just started opening up that space. And now it really, what it has evolved into is what we call the amigahood, where it's no longer you're a blogger, you're an entrepreneur, you're a career professional, you're a coach. You're just welcomed as your full self in this beautiful space where we recognize that the most important thing that we bring to you is the ability to connect with each other. So we're
Mm.
we were connecting bloggers with brands and with themselves to support each other. We have evolved to we're just connecting women rooted in friendship. So I feel community has evolved to mean so many things. How many Instagram and TikTok profiles do you see that are claiming to be a community just because they have followers? Followers are easy to get. It's formulaic. Right? You can follow a trend, you can do clickbaits, you can do memes, you can buy followers, you can pay. There's so many ways. Is that really a community? So we
Mm.
are going deeper and being our community is rooted in friendship. And for us, is if you're going to meet your next BFF, if you're going to meet your next business partner, if you're going to meet that your next mentor or that other woman, Latina woman that you feel mirrors your experience, then we've done something right.
Mm. I love this idea of mirroring because it's something that is so palpable when I am participating in amigahood. It's this sense of resonance, right? When we're there to elevate each other up, and when one person shares, you see each other in their stories. They see you and your stories. It could be very well be the shared culture, the shared language that we have. But I think at the seed that you planted that always resonates with me, and I'd love for you to talk about it a little bit more, is this motto that you have: when one grows, we all grow. I feel that is underpins so much of the work that you do and is so inspiring. Can you just talk a little bit about how this shows up in the community that you create? What exactly does that mean?
What exactly does it mean? So, yes, like I mentioned, I coined this phrase in 2010. It was just something that I wrote. And the moment it came out, I realized the potential and the power and what that actually means. And really for me at that moment, what it meant, what the intentionality behind those words were, if I am going to learn something, if I am going to open doors, if I'm going to find a way to monetize my blog and dive into this new medium that brought me so much pleasure and that I saw as a democratization of our voices, then I'm going to do the same for you. What I learn, I'm going to bring it to you. The door I open, I will kick open for all of us. If
Mm,
I make $20, I will figure out how to have you make those $20 or more. And it's this spirit of there is no competition in the sisterhood. And if we approach it like that, we approach it from a place of abundance instead of from a place of lack. Because competition is only lack. Competition is, I see, I, competition is wanting to really take, let me step back. You feeling that you are competing with someone is lack, because that means that you lack resources, right? And have to compete with somebody to get ahead. Whereas there's different track and uniqueness for all of us to coexist in all these different places. Or we feel that there's limited resources. And that's a lot what capitalism and this patriarchal system does to us, right? It makes us compete, thinking that there's limited resources and that whoever gets there first is going to be the one to succeed. So it also makes us go into hustle culture, into this hustle mentality of I'm always having to move so fast, even though it's probably burning me out, stressing me out, causing conflicts in my relationships and everything because I need to stay ahead of the competition. Instead of there's cycles and seasons for each of us,
mm,
and there's enough resources for all of us. And when we adapt a mentality of abundance, then we recognize that if I receive something, I'm not the gatekeeper. I am the bridge for that. So in that moment, if what I receive is expansive, I can create more expansiveness for us. When I grow, you can grow. The lesson that I had to learn in this was that, and this is not self-sacrificing and it's not victimhood, it's something that it we all have our traumas and our beliefs that limit us. And one of those limiting beliefs for me has always been that I don't have support. It
mm,
comes from childhood, it comes from I've never really had um I didn't grow up with my dad. I didn't really grow up with that male figure, which actually informs a lot why I'm always surrounded by women, right? And created a space for women. That it's I've never felt really that support system. And my journey has been to recognize, to build that support. That's why I was saying I created what I needed. I needed a support system. And the recognition, I am a very spiritual person, and the recognition that there is a divine support system as well that I can tap into. And that allowed me to really create more ease and more peace in my life and find that comfort and that I am my own support system, right? But
mm.
that also can manifest within I'm a type A. I need to get everything done. Nobody will do things as well as I do. Get out of the way. I'm just going to do it myself, kind of thing. And there was a few years ago when my therapist had to tell me, she's Anna, you recognize that the we and we all grow also includes you.
Mm,
For me,
beautiful.
it had become so external, so mission based. So I'm pouring in, right? I'm pouring in that there was no grounding. And where was the receiving for me? And I think I share that because I feel even in these beautiful conversations that thank you so much for bringing these conversations of pleasure. Sometimes and being that as Latina women and as just women and mothers and mothering, even if you're not a birth mother, there's so many ways that we mother that we open up that channel just to give and we forget that for the loop to be complete and to be giving from a place of abundance, we have to be receiving as well. And we self-sacrifice in so many ways. So when
Mm.
we know that, yes, when one grows, we all grow. I also want to now add, let's not forget where we fit in that our growth is instrumental for the growth of the sisterhood.
That's so beautiful. And I definitely witnessed that in the community. And in the community, We All Grow Latina is multi-generational. I know you have young 20-year-olds, you have millennials, you have midlife women, and teaching that premise, right? That when we grow, we all grow, and that it's about giving back to ourselves first and feel worthy of receiving that. Only then can we truly give with a generous spirit. Do you feel that came to you in midlife? Because I know you're in midlife, even though you look like you're one of your millennial members, but you are a midlife woman. Tell us about when did this come to mind for you?
Oh, it's a process. I'm turning 52 this week. I don't know when the podcast is being released, but yes, I'm turning 52 this week
Happy
and
birthday.
I'm very proud of my journey and I feel I don't know if I can pinpoint an exact moment, but it really has been learning that how difficult it was for me to ask for help. And
Mm,
it's so silly, but I'm going to mention this as an example. Again, I grew up in El Salvador until I was about 18, and then I moved back to Texas to go to college. My dad and I still have family there, but I never asked for help for anything. I was raised in Calladita te ves más bonita culture. And for those that don't speak Spanish, it's a phrase that most of us Latina women grew up hearing, which means you look prettier when you're quiet.
mm,
And being quiet meant just being proper, being prim, but now it's like te ves más bonita, you look prettier. So we're putting the emphasis and the importance on how you look and how you present yourself because you're out there to find the right mate or be presentable for society so that you can be palatable as well. So that was what was always told to me that was most important, more than the value of what I had to say or even asking for anything because you're just supposed to meld in. And an example is that up until like my 20s, if I go to your house and you would have asked me, like, would you like a glass of water? I would say, thank you. I don't want to be a bother. Even if I needed that glass of water, I would say no. So going from there to being able to pick up the phone and tell somebody that maybe I don't know well, that I would love their mentorship or I would love their advice, I would love their help, which was something that I really needed. And it's really hard to do when you're blazing a trail because not everybody understands your vision or what you're doing. It was it's been a journey for me to get there.
mm,
And now I'm doing something really difficult, which is writing a book. And I know that this new journey in my life is positioning me in a place where the hardest thing I'm going to have to do is ask people for help. Because the book, every author friend that I've talked to has told me that the most uncomfortable part of writing a book is how you have to put yourself out there and ask for
mm,
help.
mm.
And so it's still a journey I'm on and going to continue being on in the journey of asking for help, asking for support, allowing it to come in, receiving it when it comes, because oftentimes we self-sabotage because the support may come in a form that you didn't expect it or you aren't ready to see yet, and you might push it away. It's the
Yeah.
ego. No, I can do that. Oh no, I don't need you.
Yeah. A lot of what you share resonates with my own experience, which really I didn't come to realize when I was in midlife, moving from this perimenopause to menopause state where all of a sudden all that conditioning became so evident, all that suppressing my needs, my wants, my desires became evident. But it feels like you were already starting that process before. And all of this is bringing you to this point in your midlife journey. I know it's going to be a big ask and it's going to feel scary and very vulnerable, but I feel that you're ready for it. And I'm here for you, Anna. You know that we're all here for you. So
Yeah.
please ask away. And I feel it takes so much courage, doesn't it, to do
Mhm.
that? Wherever point in your life you are, it takes so much courage. Even if you've done it before, to do it again, it takes courage. And I feel that so much of that conditioning that we received, whether it's culturally specific or gender specific, has a role to play in it. And you're constantly shedding those layers. No matter what you do, we're constantly shedding those layers.
And I'm glad you mentioned the courage part, because I think people have a perception of other women and of other people that once you've done something that feels and looks very courageous, it's have the courage forever. And so I launched this beautiful business on my own. I had no idea what I was doing. I had no idea. I was a TV producer. I had gone to college for production. I never had a business. I don't have an MBA. I didn't know the first thing about marketing. On all those first calls with clients, they would be like throwing things to me like KPIs and ROIs and all these. I'm like Googling. I'm like, what is a KPI? How do I do a proposal? I had no idea. This was before all the coaches and the courses and everything we have access to now. Kind of figure that stuff out on my own. So I know it looks very courageous when you've built something. The thing is that it's still scary. It's still scary to start something new. Yes, you have validation and that imprint that continues to guide you and that allows you when that courage comes in to be like, hey, we've done hard things before. We can do this. But it's always a courageous act to do something new, to do something unknown, to pick up the phone and ask for help, right? To say, I'm going to put a new thing out into the world. There's always courage that comes with that. I think one of the most courageous acts is listening to your intuition and acting on it.
Hmm. Intuition, yeah, definitely. It's not the absence of fear, but it's just really tapping into that intuition, which we all have, isn't it?
Yeah,
Mm.
because it's a whisper.
Mhm.
You want it, hopefully, you want to develop your intuition to a place where you listen to it and you act on it when it's only a whisper, not when it's screaming at you, because when it's
Mm.
sometimes it cannot feel good sometimes. It may not. But we talk so much about that intuition and that inner knowing and listening to it and journaling and meditating and everything, but what happens once we receive it? What do we do with that? And that's oftentimes where the fear comes in and those limiting beliefs come in and those conditionings that you were mentioning come in that the ego comes in and it's, wait, no, that's too scary. No, we don't know how to do that. No, that would disrupt our life and we're good right now. Right? Like, why would you want to do that? Why would you want to start all over? So that's why I'm always like, it's the courage that you need to confront that inner wisdom that comes up and understanding it. That is when you're like, that is definitely a voice that is guiding me. It feels scary, but I need to go in deep and understand, why is it scary? Why is it feeling like this? Why would it disrupt my life? Why wouldn't I allow myself to go into the unknown and start all over? So it's courage is the fuel that we need every day. Really, I don't think we talk about it enough. Like, truly,
Absolutely.
how courageous we are. Like, how courageous are you, Gabriella, to put yourself out there every single time you publish an episode?
Yeah, my heart definitely skips a beat. Press publish is okay. I need to take a few breaths.
Anybody gonna listen to it? We're gonna connect with it. Am I talking to a void? All of those things come in. but we do it anyway. And that
Mm, mm. Yeah, that's so beautiful. What I love about the Amigahood community is that it's not only about empowering women to build businesses, but it's also about cultivating this intuition, about cultivating wellness within ourselves, but also for our collective. The community offers breath workshops, movement workshops, special interest groups for generational healing, in addition to the traditional business networking, how to start your podcast, how to launch a business. And I think this is so unique to your community. And I see the women just soaking it up. Really, they really need that wellness component to drive their business and their well-being. What does wellness mean to you, and why was it so important to incorporate wellness into this particular community platform?
Oh, it was so important. It actually was a soul whisper that became a scream. And it was necessary. It was something that I needed in my life. So I mentioned I'm a very spiritual person, and my spiritual path started when I moved to Mexico City in 1999, before it was cool to do that. Like everybody's moving to Mexico City now. This was a while back. I was living in Miami. I had my first job straight out of college at Univision as a TV producer. It was my dream job and I landed it. And it became a few years within it, I wanted to move to Mexico City, and just was something my soul was just calling me that I needed to live there. Even though I had an amazing, beautiful life in Miami at the time, there was something just calling me to be there. And I actually had my first meditation like a few months before I moved, and that was the first time I ever meditated, and I felt just energy. Just I felt it in my hands, I felt it in the circle, I just felt that there was something bigger than us. And it was like this awakening that my inner niña, my inner child always knew, but never had the space to validate or to even confront it or talk about it. So that really fueled everything. And when I moved to Mexico City, I confronted a lot of darkness. I confronted a lot of difficult things that also cracked me open to allow the light in and for me to like really go down a really strong spiritual path and awakening and learning a lot of things, access to books, the incredible people that came to me. And that lasted a few years, but that was like my basis of I know there is more. And I went into yoga, I went into meditation, I went into so many things. And this was what, like 25 years ago. Cut to, living in LA and I launched this business. And because again, it was something I was doing on my own, we were trying to survive. We had a really hard time during the recession of 2008 and had lost everything with the baby at home. What helped me always get back to my center or when would ever feel like things were getting really bad was when I would let go of my spiritual tools and whatever that looked like at the time. And 5 years, 6, 7 years into the journey of We All Grow in 2017, we lost it all. Basically, we stopped receiving clients because influencer marketing had become a really big business proposition, and all the brands that we were working with were such huge brands that they started taking influencer marketing in-house. So
Mhm.
everything that had been coming to us just died from one day to the next. And I saw myself confronted with bankruptcy, and I had to pick up the phone and had a meeting with my team to let them know that the next paycheck was going to be the last one, and it was also going to be the last one for me. And all of a sudden, everything I had built was crumbling down. 10 months before, I had separated from my husband, now ex-husband. So, when you tell your spirit that you're ready for growth, that you're ready for something else, right? Things will just start. You take the first step, and then other things will just start also falling apart and shedding. And that's like the magic of this, of the rebirth, that you definitely have to go down to the ashes. And I was in that moment. Everything that I had created, everything that I had worked so hard for at that moment was just falling apart. And the one thing that I understood when everything started falling apart was this calling that I had let go of me. I had lost my center. I had fallen into the hustle. I had lost everything that grounded me, which was my spiritual practices or my yoga or breath work, etc. And I was like, at this moment, when I am about to go bankrupt, when I don't have the money for it to invest in wellness or anything, all I know is that this is what I need to do. And I went straight into like all of it, breath work, meditation, etc. Just walks in nature. I let everything just fall apart. I just let it fall apart. And at reading the things that would bring me pleasure and joy, listening to podcasts and just like falling, how can I bring myself back to a state of gratitude and back into the state of attraction? And I needed, if I fell in the everything sucks, into the victim mentality, how is it that I'm losing everything? No, if I fell there, I was going to go deep into that. It was a choice at that moment of where I wanted to be. And what started to come to me, there's a lot, and I'm writing about this in the book. There's a lot that happened, magically happened during that time, but it led me to this moment where I was in this breathwork class, and it was very deep. And I heard, and I don't hear a lot, but I really heard very intuitively. I was told, "You're going to rebuild We All Grow. It's going to come back." And I was like, "Uh-huh. Como? With what money? Like, how the hell is this gonna happen?" And they're like, "No, you're gonna trust. And not only are you going to do it, but you're going to launch Wellness Day." And I was like, "Wellness Day." And then I just started pouring out. So Wellness Day was the first integration of wellness into We All Grow, into the We All Grow Summit, which was a conference that we held from 2015 to 2022, with those 2 years, 2020 and 21 in hiatus, no? But basically, what I understood was that I needed to rebuild it, that it was going to be the women in my life and the community that was going to help us bring it back. That all I had to do was really announce it. So I did it. We announced it. Two of my partners stayed on board without receiving pay. None of us were receiving pay. We just went ahead and announced We All Grow Summit for the following year. We put in the deposit, what we could, to the hotel, and we announced that we were going to be doing We All Grow Summit, and we were adding an extra day to it called Wellness Day, where we would be integrating for the first time, giving a space for Latina and Latino women, and men, because we had Young Pueblo that day, that for that first year, that we would be bringing the practices of wellness into our life, so that as we were growing our businesses and as we were growing our careers, as women were expanding, we could integrate those tools, because I understood that those tools were the most important ones that are going to guide us in this time that we're living and in the space that we're living, that it's very easy to forget ourselves, to forget our joy, to forget our pleasure, to forget our power that we have internally. So we announced it and we sold out within 24 hours. And selling that out was the influx of cash that we needed to get back on our feet.
Incredible.
So everything that I
Mhm.
had received, all the support that this divine guidance was telling me, just do it. And that's where, again, the courage came in. I was like, okay, let's announce this. And it sold out within 24 hours. And the following year, it sold out within 2 hours. It, it was the first time Wellness Day became really instrumental to everything, because it was the first time in the Latina community that there was a space for us to have a stage for those women that had already taken the step from being, maybe being in the corporate life, and now they were teaching divine feminine wisdom, or women that wanted to now lead full-time astrology, or women therapists, or et cetera, like giving them that space to be able to mirror to others what's possible. So
Mhm.
women in that first year, like the stories that we have of the women that came to Wellness Day who had never meditated, who had never maybe done a yoga class, who had never done anything like this. The first breathwork session, being in that room and seeing these women breaking down from receiving this breathwork for the first time in their life. About 90% of the attendees never done any of these. And now seeing many of those women now coaching, now leading circles, now being sound healers, now being meditation teachers, now being in wellness spaces, now being full-time astrologers. It's beautiful.
Mm.
So we continue that in everything that we do. So that was a really long answer. It's still the path, right? Because it wasn't, oh, this is cool, let's do it now, right? Oh, this is a trend, let's do it now. It was really led and fed from a place of embodiment. And everything that we do, and I'll tell you this now, this is me, this is Vanessa, my partner. That's why she is now my partner. The team, like everything that we put out into the world is something that we have embodied or are in the process of embodying.
Mm.
We're inviting you to the same, not because it's a trend, not because we'll make money of it. The hope is that we will magnetize that wealth and it will come as well. But everything that we're putting out there comes from a place of integrity.
Thank you so much. That's such a beautiful story. And yeah, I felt my emotions well up because in hearing you, I can't help but think how significant this type of work is to integrate into the Latina community or any community that is of immigrant origins. Because I think I grew up seeing my parents who immigrated to Houston, Texas, also suffer and struggle. And that was imprinted on me. And part of the narrative was like, yeah, being being a woman is also it involves suffering. That was also some of the narratives I inherited. And just to set yourself free of that. I know and so many of the members of your community are first generation and they still are carrying some of those narratives, right? Some of them may be second, third generation. And we hold those narratives are so imprinted within us. And it takes so much work to really free ourselves of those narratives. And I feel that is such a gift that you offered this community to be able to learn these life-changing tools.
Within the context of peer learning, that we're
Mm.
learning from each other, because the traditional spaces to learn, especially about wellness and spirituality, I think we all started with the same books, right? It's the Deepak Chopras, the Marianne Williamson, Oprah, etc. But how many of those can you list that are actually Latinos? Está Don Miguel Ruiz, Clarissa Pinkola Estes, a woman that run with wolves. There's very few. And there's nothing like actually learning from someone, and again, that mirrors our experience, that has the shared history. What you're talking about right now, I understand. And maybe I didn't live it in the same way, but it expresses itself very similarly.
Mm.
And I recognize it because we are part of a collective community. And that's what thing what's the beauty of being or from Latin American, Caribbean origin, that we still even within us, we're like, but what is it that really ties it together, ties us together? Because we're different in so many ways. It's not just the language, it's the upbringing. And it's also a lot of these, I think it is the shared limiting beliefs. And I don't want to get fully into that topic, but that come from colonization, that come from
Mhm.
oppression and the belief of hard work and sacrifice. It comes from religion, it comes from colonization, it comes from so many things that make us believe that this is how it needs to be. And for women and for men, and I see that with my current love partner, that he is from Tucson, Arizona, where the border crossed him, crossed his family. So he's native Mexican, right? Always from that land. And their belief is, and his belief that he's working hard on right now, is that only hard work and self-sacrifice gets you ahead.
Mm.
They don't want us to be in pleasure. They don't want us to be in joy.
Mhm. And there's so much unlearning that we have to do, and doing it in community is even more more powerful way to do it. I wanted to segue into another tool that you introduced as a means of dissolving some of these limiting beliefs and giving us this power of self-inquiry, which is so powerful. And that is the Amigas Circle conversation cards, which I have here. I love mine, my conversation glove.
She's so pretty, no? Actually, it was co-created between Vanessa Santos, my partner and co-CEO, and myself. And we brought in Purple, Alexandra Purple, who has a beautiful foundation here in Los Angeles called for women. So she's an indigenous woman, and we wanted to really bring her in because the thought behind this and the intention behind the Amiga Circle was to go back to those indigenous practices and the women practices of women have always gathered in circle to support each
Mhm,
other,
mhm,
to create together, to grieve together, to elevate together, right? We've always done that in community and circles. That's why we wanted to bring the mega circle in something tangible that you could take, that you could always have with you and carry that with you on the dinner table with your friends, with your mother, with your daughter, with your kids, with your amigas, with your partner. We have so many coaches that use it and therapists that use it with their clients now. So it's just become really soul medicine. It's just a set of 99 bilingual prompts. They're all in English and Spanish and created with Purple, with Alexera Purple. To make sure that we were really bringing in questions that wouldn't just leave you in, that would really open up a conversation. Like you said, it can be a conversation with yourself as journal or in a space with significant others. But that would also like really be deep in not something that is triggering, but something that is actually nurturing. And that's what these 99 prompts are intended to do.
mm. Do you want to guide us through one of the cards?
Sure. So why don't you
Mm,
cards? I don't know.
okay, I have mine.
Okay. So pick one.
Ok,
So our three pillars, our three company pillars and
mhm,
community pillars are heal, commune, and grow.
okay,
So pick one.
pick one. All right, so I'm choosing from the heal deck.
Okay, so grab the deck.
Uh-huh. Grab the deck, the whole deck.
Many ways of doing it. This is how I'm being called right now to do it with you. I'm gonna invite you to just shuffle it
Okay,
and stop whenever you feel like stopping.
okay, all right,
Okay, and just grab the one on top.
okay. Shall I read it?
Yeah, show it to us and read it.
It says, how will you honor yourself during this season? ¿Cómo te honrarás a ti misma durante esta temporada?
That one really wanted to be the one. You'll honor yourself during this season.
Oh my gosh, so beautiful. And this season for me is as a postmenopausal woman of 5 years, right? I've been postmenopausal for 5 years and I've come out of the other side feeling more courageous, more empowered, more wise, and yeah, more in recognition of the gifts that I have to offer others. So I want to honor that. I want to honor, yeah, my gifts. And that's what I'm doing with this podcast and with you right now.
I feel it so much.
Oh my gosh, that took a lot to say. I can't believe I said that.
And you're even you're holding your throat chakra. You're
Oh my gosh, yes. But that's what I feel the power of these type of tools are, is that it really elicits deep truth, deep self-knowing. And I've been playing with these cards for a while and my eyes are starting to well up. But yeah, I that's such a beautiful deck of cards. Do you want to play? Shall you want to
Yeah, yeah.
take turns and have you go?
Okay. Y
Okay, so
let's do which one did you do?
I did heal.
Let's see grow.
Grow. So I will do it and then read it to you.
Yeah, so shuffle it and I'll tell you when to stop.
Okay. Okay.
Stop.
Okay, it says, I am proud of myself for stepping into my power when. Estoy orgullosa de mí misma por entrar en mi poder cuando.
I speak my truth.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mirror a lot and deeply understand, I feel at another level what you expressed as well. And if honoring this season, I feel very much the same way. I feel that at the stage I am right now in my life, and I want to honor that wisdom and I want to speak it. And I don't want to be afraid about the consequences or who connects and who doesn't. Um, if it feels like my truth and it feels in alignment to me, then I want to honor it and I want to speak it.
Mm. And you do that so beautifully and role model it so beautifully for all of us. Thank you
Yep.
so much, Anna.
Thank you.
I want to ask you before we say goodbye, what advice can you give women who are listening who want to create a community of their
Mm.
own?
Enter it with a lot of patience. There is no quick way. So be very sure about, first of all, aligning with your purpose for running a community and for creating a community. Your purpose can look like to sell my product, to bring in more clients, or just to have a space for me to also connect with women that have the same needs and wants and cravings and yearnings as I do. All of those are valid, but that's what's going to inform how you grow this community and how you consistently show up for it. So be very sure with your purpose, be very patient. Please don't look for quick fixes. Anybody that's telling you, I'm going to help you build a community in 3 months, is only after your money, because there is no way. The only way to really build a community that is going to sustain itself, that is going to be full of grace, right? You don't want trolls, you don't want negativity. You want to make sure that people are very connected because they're going to help sustain the community with you, is by being very patient and showing up consistently and listening deeply to what it is that people are craving and needing from you specifically. From you as in you as your creation and the community that you're putting forward. What is it that they need and how are you going to continue serving them?
Beautiful. That's such great advice. Thank you.
We actually I shared our community blueprint for the first time in 13 years, and it is accessible for all Amigahood Elevate members, which is our newest offering to those that are ready to elevate. We call it Women with an Entrepreneurial Spirit at every stage. So whether you're in the dream stage or you're already making millions of revenue in your business and you're looking for a place where you can come in community and share in the intersection of entrepreneurship and wellness, then Amigahood Elevate is your space. It is
Mm.
our paid membership offer. Amigahood is still free and will continue to be free. We have over 27,000 women in that beautiful community. It's an app as well. You can access it via any of the app stores. But Elevate is has its own very particular conscious programming and way that we're showing up for them. And that's where you can access the replay of our community blueprint, where I go in deep in the secret sauce, the magic behind this OG community of We All Grow in Amigahood.
And that can be found on.
So going to weallgrowlatina.com/elevate.
Excellent. And the Amiga Circle conversation card, where
You
can
can
they?
find, yeah. So for those, it's on our shop.weallgrowlatina.com. The best thing is just to go to weallgrowlatina.com. That's our home base, and you will find the pages and the links to the Amiga Hood app, to the Elevate community, and to our beautiful Amiga Circle conversation cards,
Mm.
and up to our email, because that's really where we communicate. I think our marketing team, our team is like really badass. They're really good. We over communicate. Like, you'll find everything. So you'll find everything on our website and you'll find everything on our email.
And on socials.
Socials at We All Grow Latina across the board.
And then we can also hear about from you. And you, I know you share snippets of your story and your journey at
Yeah. At
Ana.
Ana Flores_ME. I've been a bit silent on the socials lately because I am in a liminal space. I'm in an incubation cocoon space where these wings are about to really expand and open up in this next stage of my life. So definitely follow, because there's I'm going to be sharing and using my voice a lot more very soon.
Oh, I cannot wait.
I've been
And
creating space for that, and it's coming.
And then on that wonderful note, I'd love to finish off with the question I ask all my guests. And what does pleasure mean to you as a midlife woman?
What does pleasure mean to me as a midlife woman? It means freedom of expression.
Hmm.
It means freedom of expression, freedom of joy, of finding joy in all the moments that I feel, because pleasure is a feeling, right? It's this beautiful vibration. And when I feel that I'm in pleasure, is that I'm allowing myself to receive the joy, receive the abundance, receive just the goodness that is meant for us, that is our birthright.
Hmm. Thank you so much. So beautiful. Anna, it's been such a pleasure to be with you. I've learned so much more from you. I feel like I've gotten to know you. You've become more of an amiga today. And thank you so much for your time and for your wisdom.
Thank you. Thank you for this space and thank you for the invitation.
And thank you to everyone who's joined us today. May you live your life in pleasure and in community. Thank you so much.